Hey, what's up, everybody? Um, oh, sorry about that. I'm here to give you my No Way Out thoughts and thoughts on No Way Out, basically preview and booking wise and stuff like that, like I've done, like I did before. Um, I just found out by looking at my PW Torch app, a new match has been added to No Way Out, and it's a tuxedo match. Yeah, and it's going to be Santino versus Ricardo. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let's talk about the matches, including that one. Let's talk about the matches overall. The pre-show match, which will be on YouTube, Facebook, and wherever, will be David Otunga and Brodus Clay. Now, I can only think that this is gonna extend Brodus's win streak. So yeah, expect Brodus to win this one if you want to keep his momentum going, no matter if you have him just on SmackDown or what. So yeah, Brodus I think is going to keep his winning ways going. It's probably the best way to book it as well. Um, and now we get into the pay per view, and we have Santino and Ricardo in a tuxedo match, and I think Santino will win this. Um, I think it makes more sense as a fan. You want to see Santino win. And booking wise, if you still want to make Ricardo look like a goof, is the best way to do it. So I definitely see Santino winning, and you continue the whole comedy gimmick with Ricardo. So I mean, I'd be shocked if they let Ricardo win, but who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see. Next match, Layla versus Beth. Prediction wise, as a fan, you want to probably see Layla keep a hold of it just a little longer. Booking wise, you want to do that as well because she just won it at Extreme Rules. You kind of want to let her keep it a little bit longer. Kind of do the Kelly deal and then wait till maybe, let's say, Night of Champions to take it off of her. That's just my thought. Then we have the Intercontinental Championship on the line: Christian versus Cody Rhodes. Christian will be making history here. He'll be making history by being the only wrestler to appear on two different pay-per-views for two different wrestling companies. Last week, of course, being Slammiversary. This past Sunday being that Slammiversary because of that deal that TNA and WWE had. And then, of course, this Sunday at No Way Out defending the title against Cody Rhodes. I think Christian's going to keep the title. You want to keep it on him just a little longer, kind of build him up a little bit more till he's ready to get back in the main event picture. Cody, I think, is going to be in the main event real soon, but there's also rumors going around he may go face as well, but we're not totally sure about that yet. But definitely prediction and booking wise, I have to go with Christian. Then we have the world title match, Sheamus versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, in case some of you don't know, Dolph was put into this situation by winning a Fatal 4-Way number one contenders match on Monday. Uh, the reason that match took place on Monday was because Del Rio has suffered a concussion, so he's out again. So now the question is who will win what everybody's pretty much assuming is going to be a phenomenal match. Well, prediction wise, as a fan, you want to see, believe it or not, you want to see Dolph win the championship and have a decent reign as champion. But booking wise, if you're WWE, you want to keep the momentum going with Sheamus because you may need him in the future. So it's kind of 50-50 there. Like prediction wise, as a fan, you want to see Dolph win it. But booking wise, you want to see you want to keep the momentum going with Sheamus because you never know when you'll need him. Then we have the triple threat, the three-way or triple threat match between CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Kane. AJ sort of being the wild card at ringside. Right now, from what I understand, they have CM Punk penciled in to face Big Show at SummerSlam, so that definitely tells you booking-wise they're going to go with CM Punk. Fan-wise, prediction-wise, you want to see either Punk retain or you want to see Daniel Bryan win. So that way, at least you could say Daniel Bryan and CM Punk did what no one else said they would do when they would get to WWE. And that's become the WWE. And that's, at one point in their careers, be world champion and WWE champion. So prediction-wise, as a fan, you want to see either Daniel Bryan win or CM Punk retain. Kane, it'd be a shocker if they book him to win. So, but again, AJ, I believe, is going to be the wild card in this equation. And we'll just have to see whose wild card side she will be on. And then, of course, Triple H will make his return to address the Brock Lesnar situation again and the lawsuits pending against WWE. We'll see what happens then. Maybe we'll see Paul Heyman. And then we have the steel cage match between John Cena and Big Show with the stipulations. That's right, stipulations, not stipulation, but stipulations. If Big Show loses, Laurinaitis is fired. Or if you were at the SmackDown tapings 2 nights ago, and you found out there, or you'll find out this Friday on Sci-Fi, if John Cena loses, he's fired. And Vince McMahon is teased, according to what to be at ringside. We don't know if he will be or not after what happened this Monday. So, booking-wise, wow, this is... I think originally, before the whole situation with Orton took place and Jericho and then the Del Rio concussion, I think booking-wise they wanted probably to go with Big Show, and they still might. It's kind of a toss-up there. So it's kind of 50-50. I mean, booking-wise, they still might want to go with Big Show, but then on the other hand, with Orton out, Jericho out, Del Rio out, they may want to keep Cena going, and especially if you got Cena booked for several SmackDowns in the future, you probably do still want to keep Cena's momentum, or give him that win over Big Show. Fan-wise, yeah, I think if you're a fan of I think fan-wise overall, the majority goes to John Cena. I mean, even those that don't like John Cena will want him to win because they're sick and tired of Laurinaitis. So, prediction-wise, as a fan, you want to see Cena win. But, again, it's kind of like, the booking's kind of like up in the air. You don't know exactly what they're going to do. Like I said, if it wasn't for everything that's gone down already, from Jericho being gone, Orton being gone, Del Rio being out, if it wasn't for some of that, and like let's say Taker only doing one or two appearances a year, and Triple H just being in the role of the COO and wrestling just once or twice or 3 times a year, they probably would go in the direction of booking Show to win. But right now, with circumstances the way they are, and especially with Lesnar and his selected dates, and Rock, never knowing when he'll come back, I think the majority that wants Cena, that will change their minds and have Cena win, will go in that direction. But we're not totally sure right now. Prediction-wise, as a fan, you want to see Cena beat Show, so we'll be rid of Laurinaitis. But again, the booking on WWE's part is kind of like, it looks kind of 50-50 to me because, you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to say, okay, let's pull the trigger and let's have Show win and let's have Cena gone for a while. To me, if they decide to go in the direction of having Big Show win, yeah, John Cena will be off television for a while, maybe, but it won't be for that long. A lot of people saying, oh, he'll be back soon, and you think, yeah, he will be, because you can't have the 1000th episode of Raw without the face of the company, right? So my thought is, if they decide to book Show to go over Cena, Cena will be back and will probably face John Laurinaitis in a match on the 1000th episode of Raw, where he will beat John Laurinaitis. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only only solution I think they can come up with if they decide to have Big Show win the match. Then on the other hand, if they have John Cena win, then yeah, we'll see something happen on the 1000th episode of Raw. Don't get me wrong about that. We will. Because I said this on Facebook I said this on Facebook on several groups there. The Raw Rebound, MJ Knight, the British Fist, the Off the Rope Show, the Wrestling Commentary Group, and even on overall on Facebook itself. I said, you know, basically, I basically asked the question. I asked the question with, with John's, that's the bird in the background. I apologize. I asked the question on Facebook basically that with everybody that I mentioned out right now, would WWE afford it? I mean, could WWE afford to, pull the trigger and do what, some fans that are Cena haters would like to see just for a little while, and that's get Cena off television? Would they do it? Could they afford to do it? And to me, I don't know. I don't really know. Now, I know some people are thinking, well, it's kind of ironic that it's almost been a year now since the whole Money in the Bank situation with Punk and Cena, and now you got Vince McMahon back. Wouldn't it be funny if maybe this whole thing's a setup and Vince McMahon screws John Cena as payback? Yeah, it would be it would be ironic if that was to happen. And then you could have like Vince McMahon come out and say, hey, it's been 1 year in the making, I've never forgotten, kind of deal. And again, I agree, that would be a huge twist. That would be something that even I admit I wouldn't see coming. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, like I said, with the people I mentioned that are out, like Orton, Jericho, and Del Rio, and a few others, could they really afford to do it? Some people have come up with the situation that we could end up having a draw and that nobody gets fired kind of deal. And that could happen too. I mean, we could have a draw, we could have both men escape the cage at the same time, and nobody gets fired. So, that would be something that, would kind of get people talking, like, oh great, we're still stuck with Laurinaitis, but yet Cena doesn't lose his job. And that could be a good way to book the ending of the match. But this is what I said on Facebook, and it's right here. I said, basically on Facebook, and it's right here, I said, this is what I said, and I quote, and this was 11 hours ago, I quote, why do I have this feeling that before this year's out, we will have Big Johnny, John Laurinaitis, leading some sort of legitimacy faction in an attempt to take over WWE. Sort of an inside invasion, if you will. And then I mentioned at the bottom, and with Orton, Del Rio, Jericho out right now, will the WWE pull the trigger and have Cena lose or not? Because whether you like to admit it or not, he's needed right now and is scheduled for upcoming SmackDowns. So, again, that's the question. Will they pull the trigger? I don't know. And neither does anybody. But the point I made there in the first paragraph is, either we'll see Cena and Laurinaitis facing each other at the 1000th episode of Raw, or we'll see Laurinaitis return let's say Laurinaitis is fired, if you will, we'll see him return. I just get this feeling he's going to return with some kind of faction, some kind of legitimacy faction involving himself, Big Show, Lesnar, maybe Heyman, and whoever else they get associated. Maybe David Otunga, Eve, and whoever else they can get on their side in an attempt to take over WWE and try to make it more legit. Because when you heard Big Show's work shoot, as I looked at it on Monday, he basically told Vince, one of the things he told Vince McMahon was, I no longer have to be part of your dog and pony show. Get what I'm saying? Kind of get what I'm going with there? Now, I know one of the questions you may ask is, well, Brian, if they let Cena win, then why are they booking possibly Big Show to face Punk at SummerSlam? Let me address that. Big Show's got an ironclad contract, can do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants. What that means is Big Show could actually demand and get a championship match against CM Punk. he could lose to John Cena or go to a draw with John Cena this Sunday, but he could still get a title match. I mean, look at Dolph Ziggler. He's been on a losing streak for a while. Now he's got a title match. And yeah, it may be out of the fact that we don't have all these major names right now. But look, he's getting a championship match. And they could have easily gave it to Swagger or Christian or Khali or somebody else. But they're giving it to Ziggler. The Ziggler. So it kind of tells you it doesn't matter if Big Show loses or not. I mean, Ziggler and Swagger, they lost to Kofi and R-Truth at the last pay-per-view, and look at this. Now he's getting a title match for the world. He's getting a shot at the world title. That tells me, even if Big Show loses, it doesn't mean he's out of the main event yet. Now, again, we don't know exactly how they got this booked. I'm sure they had a lot of things planned and ready to go, but weren't expecting the Orton suspension or the Jericho suspension or the Del Rio concussion and stuff. So whatever they got planned for Sunday, we'll just have to wait and see. If they decide to go with a draw in that steel cage, then fine, let them go with a draw. But again, we don't know. And the question is, will they pull the trigger? Will they say, okay, Big Show, you're going over, Cena's going to be gone for a while? Will they do it, or will they not? Because right now, they're lacking on baby faces. And the only thing you could do is turn somebody, is either you keep Cena, or if you let him go for a little while, you make somebody else a babyface. And I mentioned Cody Rhodes possibly turning babyface. That could happen. You know, you could have Miz come back from filming the Marine 3 and he could turn face. Heck, it looks like at times they could be teasing. They could be, I mean, this would be ironic. They could be teasing David Otunga as a face turn. Maybe I'm wrong, but who knows? I mean, you could have Ziggler. I mean, look, Ziggler is the kind of guy that he could stay a heel, but right now he's the kind of person that if you need someone to step up and become a new major face, new major baby face, he's the one. He's the one that could do it. But the question is, will that occur, and will anything have to be done? Is they decide to pull the trigger? We won't know until Sunday. And again, like I said, prediction-wise, as a fan, you want to see Laurinaitis get fired. You want to see him gone. But then again, I don't know. I mean, somebody mentioned on Facebook, well, Laurinaitis was supposed to be gone at Over the Limit, and he stayed. So the best way to... And then when you have Cena go on Twitter or go and do a promotion saying Laurinaitis will have no way out, you know, it makes you wonder exactly what's going to happen. So again, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I'm not going to order the pay-per-view because right now I paid the cable bill, but I still have to kind of watch the money a little bit, especially with weddings coming up and stuff. But I wouldn't be surprised of what happens. I wouldn't be surprised of what occurs on Sunday. You know, I'm not going to be surprised if they decide to let Big Show win, and I'm not going to be surprised if they let Cena win, and I won't be surprised if they go for a draw. But it's got to be something that's going to make everybody satisfied, or it's going to make people want more. They're going to want to tune in to see what happens next. I mean, they may hold off on the Laurinaitis firing until Monday, so the whole world could see it. So, again, though, it's totally up to what WWE's got planned. Booking-wise, in my eyes, they're kind of 50-50 right now. Because right now, they're lacking the star power they need if they decide to go in the direction of having Show beat Cena. So it's kind of 50-50 with them. But those are my thoughts on No Way Out this Sunday, my predictions, and how I look at it being booked. You got any comments, video responses, let me know down below, and I'll talk to you all later.